Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the show. We're your host, Grant Cohn, Coach Noah Johnston, Jack Hammer. Free agency officially starts tomorrow, but it's 2 days underway, and the Niners haven't traded Jimmy. They haven't really made a big move unless you're a big fan of Trevarius Ward or freaking Oren Burks. But and someone needs to turn that thing down just a little bit. It's got some reverb.
I'll try me.
All right, but the thing is that all of a sudden – people are linking Deshaun Watson to the 49ers. That report got shut down real quick by everyone that said the Niners were taking Mac Jones, so take that with a grain of salt. What do you guys think? Buy or sell the Niners' reported interest in Deshaun Watson?
Okay.
I'll take it first. I sell it. I don't think that there's a whole lot of interest there. It would make sense from the fact that I think there was interest with Deshaun Watson last year. He had his legal troubles, and so that's when I think they pivoted to Trey Lance. Now, do they move forward with this and decide that they're going to go all in on a quarterback and move Lance? I think that's what it'd take. I don't think that happens. I think the only way that they would get this done is to trade Lance plus future picks, and maybe Lance and George Kittle gets it done. But beyond that, I don't think that they can make this trade happen. So there might be some interest there, but I don't think it goes very far.
Yeah, sell. I don't know that they exactly. I don't know that they even have enough to get it done. Because to me, what Houston's going to be interested in is draft picks. They're not going to be interested in George Kittle. They would want Trey Lance, but then they would want draft picks. But you don't have draft picks. You don't have first rounders because you got Trey Lance last year and you gave up 3 first rounders for him. So when you look at the other teams that are in the market and the assets that they have, I don't think Houston would be interested. I know Deshaun would, but it's going to take 2 to tango. I don't Houston's just not going to give Deshaun Watson whatever he wants. They're going to want compensation in return.
Well, let's go back to the question. Buy or sell the Niners' interest in Deshaun? Coach just said he thinks Deshaun's interested in the Niners. I think we can all agree that he would be interested in the Niners. What quarterback wouldn't be? Brady apparently was. So that's probably true. And then the Niners interested in him. I think we all assumed they were last year. What has changed since then? Okay, we learned about his personal life. That's true. That is true, although no one really knows what happened other than the people who was in those rooms. We also know that he was not indicted and isn't going to be a criminal. So we also know that other teams are interested, and if the Niners don't get this guy, he could go to a team in the NFC that could be in their way. I think they'd be crazy not to be interested. I think they were interested last year. They probably waited for some clarity on his legal issues. They're probably still interested. I mean, did Trey Lance really do that much in the last year to make them be like, you know what, screw Deshaun Watson. We like Lance better. I mean, clearly, I like Lance, but they didn't go to Lance when they had the opportunity. I don't know. I think that there's probably something to this, and the reason that so many people came out and said it's not happening is the Niners don't want people to think this is happening because it's probably a long shot for the reasons you guys said. Can they even present the best deal? Maybe not. But to even find out, you would have to have some conversations. And I think they probably should have those, and they should probably do it in secret. And I think they came this close, except some dude named Jordan Schultz blew the lid off it, and the Niners went to all their friends. They're like, would you say that that's not happening? Because they probably had some possible deniability that I don't really understand. But I don't know. Also, my friend Jason Dumas from KRON reported the same thing. And that guy, I totally trust that guy. He's actually really plugged in. So I think there's something to it. I don't think the Niners are going to get Deshaun Watson. They'd have to sell it to the Texans as look, another team could give you more picks, but there's no quarterback in this draft that you can get that compares to Lance.
And I think you just hit on the piece there. The Texans have a good defense. They're a good team that is but they don't have a quarterback, and they need some offensive weapons to go with it. So that's why if you decide to throw in if it's a Lance and a Kittle or Lance and somebody else, it makes sense for them to possibly go that route over draft picks. I think if I'm the Texans, I'd rather have a quarterback that can play for me than go into this next season with Davis Mills as my QB.
About Lance and Ayuk. Ayuk might have more trade value than Kittle just because he's younger, cheaper. I'm just saying. What about Lance and Ayuk?
I think the other thing I think that I want to say is the message that they put out is that they're not trying to meet with Deshaun Watson. They didn't say they're not interested. They said we're not trying to meet.
Definitely not meeting with him. It could be a Zoom meeting and be like, oh, that's technically not a meeting. It could be a call. It could be like I'll talk to this person, then he talks to this person, then he talks to this person, then they talk to you. Like, there's so many ways that they could say it's not really a meeting.
And I keep saying this on everybody, but the 49ers do kick the tires on everybody. Like, they are interested in every single person. Like, we laugh at it all the time because every report comes out that, hey, the Niners are interested in this guy. They always kick the tires on everybody.
You have to be interested in Deshaun Watson. If he came to the NFC, he'd be the best quarterback in the NFC.
Yeah.
Or one of them.
But
you have to be interested. You have to think about it, right?
Yeah. No. You know what it is? You know what it is too? I actually like that part. It's actually a good business, right? Because if I kick the tires on everybody, when I am actually interested, it makes when other players like, hey, that's just what we do. They just it calms them down a little bit. It calms the fan base down a little bit because now the fan base knows that's just how we do business. Like, we kick the tires on everybody. So like, don't be alarmed when you hear something crazy or whatever. And then when you do something crazy, it doesn't set off the alarms.
Like, Jack, let's say it comes down to the Niners and the Saints as the two teams Deshaun Watson is interested in. I mean, can the Niners not make a better offer than the Saints?
I think the 49ers don't have all the draft capital that the Saints do, but the 49ers have a quarterback. They have two of them that they could send to Houston that could help them. That could be better than what they have currently.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they really do. Whether you're obviously, if you're the 49ers, you're probably going to want to have that be Jimmy Garoppolo to get out from underneath the salary cap deal. But other than that, I mean, you've got two of them that you can send. You're like, hey, I got two guys. You want one of them? Because they're both better than yours.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't think it's going to end up happening, but I think it has a legitimate chance of happening. I think the Niners have to be interested. Yeah, I think it's really interesting to talk about because I don't see what team's going to present a better deal than the Niners. I mean, yeah, you could get more picks in this year's draft, but who are you going to take? Sam Howell? Who you want? Desmond Ridder? Who's it going to be? You're a Matt Corral kind of guy. Like, no, you're not. You want Trey Lance, don't you? I'm just saying. Yeah. I don't know. When will we find out, guys?
Maybe you're ahead of the curve on this whole George Kittle thing. Maybe you were.
Maybe it's going to be a monster trade package for Deshaun.
Wait, the other part of it too, like, would Deshaun be that happy? Like, if to get me, you have to give up George Kittle, like, does he want to have less weapons when he arrives? Like,
I don't know. These are things that we would have to investigate, but it seems like this story has legs. Ultimately, I don't think the Niners. Here's the thing, because the Niners are the team that always investigates, right? So of course they're investigating. They investigate. They always do their due diligence, and then they don't get the guy. They're like, we're gonna get J.C. Jackson. We're gonna get J.C. Jackson. We're gonna get. Actually, we're gonna go just a little bit. That's what they do. They're like the guys that go into like the casino and think they're gonna spend a lot of money, and then they just we just lost. We're done. That's me, by the way. We're done.
I say like they're the guys that like they go into the Lamborghini store, but they're just trying to see if there's one in their price range. But like it's like
one that's like slightly used, like a blemish on it.
Yeah.
That's what I do with my Kia Stinger. $9,000, $15,000 off the sticker. 9,000 miles, $15,000 off the sticker price. You gotta love that. Got to. Connor says, Grant, why are Niner fans so quick to accept mediocrity from such a storied franchise, from free agency to quarterback play, etc.? See, I think this is a marker in how old you are. If you live through the 90s, let's just say the 90s, the tail end of the DeBartolo years, of course the 80s too, I think you just have higher standards. I think people that are born and bred on Parag Marath have a different way of looking at it. That's my simplest reductionist way of looking at it. What do you think?
Wait, they did just make the NFC Championship game, though. That's not mediocrity, right? Like,
do we hang? They didn't even win it. We don't hang those around here. I thought Jake York said that. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't. No, they don't hang championship banners.
They don't hang those around here. They used to be hired Hall of Fame coaches, Hall of Fame quarterbacks. That's what we do in San Francisco. That's it. Anything less is unacceptable. Oh, you're not a Hall of Fame quarterback? Get the hell out of town.
Well, I mean, the funny thing about the 49ers and the fans who feel like they're in this mediocrity mode, I mean, you got to go back over the last 20 years and realize this team is either in the toilet or they're in the playoffs going making deep runs. They're not. There's really not much of a in between. So, and
Jack, what's Jack's history? What's Kyle Shanahan's history with sustained success in the NFL?
He doesn't have it. He hasn't. We haven't seen it from him. It's an up and down thing, but and that all goes back to Deshaun Watson or Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo being healthy, one of those three guys. When he has a very good quarterback, or a good quarterback. That's not even say very good. But when he has a decent quarterback, he can win games.
Has Kyle ever been on a team as a coach? Has he ever been on a team that's had back-to-back winning seasons?
No, the closest
No.
he's been. Maybe I think if you go back to his first 2 years in Houston, I think they went to they might have been. I know they've had like an 8-8 followed by a winning season or something like that. I know they had that one in.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. So hence the interest in a future Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, the only thing that would make Kyle Shanahan vulnerable is if he goes to Trey Lance and Trey Lance struggles. If he does that, Kyle Shanahan's stock plummets. Anything else, he's fine.
Grant, I've got the Deshaun Watson trade for you.
What?
Trey Lance and Kyle Shanahan for Deshaun Watson.
And Watson can coach the team himself. Or Anthony Lynn. Maybe Anthony Lynn was brought in here because they've been planning to trade Shanahan the whole time. Someone called into the Cohn phone and actually said that theory. Like, so you're late to that, or maybe I can fill it from him.
That would be awesome.
Makes sense. Marco says maybe Jimmy and Kyle go together, and it's revealed at the very. They're like, actually, we were the tag team champs the whole time. You know what I mean? Like in WWF, like they thought they didn't like each other, but they were actually really friends. You know?
Yeah.
Trade the same team. Marco, thank you very much. That Niner guy says this has the same odds at TB12 of the Niners, 0.0001%. Yeah, because the Niners, they like kicking the tires. They don't actually like buying the car.
Yeah.
They don't buy the Lambo.
Nah.
They buy the Kia Stinger with 9,000 miles on it. Banana Hands and Lynch deserve to be fired if Jimmy Two Picks is not dealt. Deadline is almost here and no news. Jimmy Two Picks money needs to go. Let's talk about that right now. How long can the 49ers afford to hang on to Jimmy Two Picks and not be criticized? Or is it already into criticism territory?
I think it's already in criticized territory.
Yeah.
Its values seem to drop. I mean, it seems to be dropping by the moment, and I mean, they can afford as long as to the deadline tomorrow because they need that cap. They need that cap space. I don't know if there's a possibility of other moves that they could do, that they could possibly do an Armstead restructure, Ward restructure that might get them to where they need to be under the cap. But if they could do those moves plus move Jimmy Garoppolo, they could use that space to make their roster even better. There's still free agents out there that they could actually sign. So this is really holding them back. And for me, the only reason why I would kind of hold on is that I know there's a $7.8 million injury guarantee. So I think the deal with that is if they cut him, the Niners are on the hook for that unless he gets signed by another team.
Right.
I think Jimmy gets that check, he gets cash, and the Niners, that's tied up cap space that becomes cleared once Jimmy signs with the team. Is that correct, Jack?
Correct. That's right.
I don't think the Niners just want to hand Jimmy Garoppolo a $7.5 million parting gift after he did what he did. I think just saying. If they've given him enough, I mean, I'd probably give him $100 million.
I mean, you could feasibly use that essentially because you do need to save space to sign your draft pick. So you could essentially give him the check. He'll probably more than likely sign with somebody. So you'll get that money back. Then you get that money back. You use that money to sign your draft picks. You have a little bit left over. But I don't think they can wait. I think they got to make a move.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because they can probably do a bunch of restructures and get themselves to where they're over. They're under the cap by 1 o'clock tomorrow. We haven't even seen the numbers yet on this Trevarius Ward contract. That's something to think about because usually we saw a lot of the deals that came out yesterday. We've already been able to see the numbers and the structure. So we haven't seen that yet. None of these things are official till tomorrow, but I think it might throw up a little bit of a red flag that we haven't seen those numbers yet on this deal with Ward. Because depending on, they're saying almost $27 million was guaranteed. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. But we don't know what the signing bonus was, so we can't really get an idea of what the number is. We can't tell if it's $9 million in year one or if it's just, what it is. So I think we have until 1 o'clock tomorrow. I don't know how far along the 49ers go into this with Garoppolo on their roster. They can get by for maybe a day, but that's beyond that. It's going to become very tough. They're going to have to do it, and they'd have to be doing more restructures than the obvious ones.
I think what's happening is that whatever surgery, and the Niners are thinking, well, maybe it'll go back up. later on in the year, like as has been reported during training camp or preseason, once he's healthy and throwing, and some team gets desperate because their quarterback is hurt. I think that's what they're hoping, so that must mean that the offer for him is a day 3 pick at this point, because if they just hold on to him for another year, they get a third round comp pick for him next year. They must be thinking that they can do better. But what's funny is, like, imagine if they had traded him at the beginning of February, right after their season ended, because Jimmy allegedly was giving a good faith effort to rehab without surgery, right? Like, the plan wasn't, I'm going to get surgery. It was, I'm going to try this first. What if you traded him right then when he told people, oh, I don't need surgery? You know what I mean? Thumb maybe, I don't need surgery. What was his value in early February? The Niners waited. They knew he was hurt. And then Jimmy was like, oh, you know what? I need surgery. I tried it the other way. It just didn't work. I gave it honest Abe here. I got to do sorry. I'm just saying. They could have, why did they wait? Tripping. They should have been traded him by now. Should have been traded him.
Yeah, I don't think other teams, though, wanted to do the trade at that point for the same reason that you just mentioned, because they all knew, everybody knew that he was injured on February 1, because that's what he said.
Right.
Because that's when they tried to downplay it, but then Garoppolo came out and did his whole thing.
I think there's something else here, too. I don't think teams value him that high. I know that injury is playing a part, but I think they see the same things that some of the things that we've seen is that
that's the main point here.
He's not that good, right? And that's why, like, and you're definitely not that interested in a quarterback that's not that good and injured, right? We've seen teams out there
and not on the free agent market. Sorry to cut you off, but you have to trade for him and then pay him $27 million.
Yeah, right. I mean, Carson Wentz was off injured quarterback. Drew Brees was signed when he was originally signed. He was coming off of surgery. Like, there's been guys that are coming off surgeries that get signed. It's just that this guy, there's a lot of questions about, even when he's healthy and he's on the field. And then he's shown even if he was healthy, he's shown an inability to stay healthy. So, like, there's all of those things. And then on top of that, just with anything else, it's supply and demand. I think the Niners coming into this offseason, like, oh, wow, there's not going to be a lot of quarterbacks out there for these teams. So teams need quarterbacks. No, there was a bunch out there.
Also, I tweeted a couple of weeks ago that if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't start for the 49ers this season, and he may if they keep him, he won't start anywhere. And people thought it was a hot take at the time, but I think he's kind of losing this game of musical chairs. He might be the last dude without a chair when the music stops. We're getting real close. I mean, if it's not Indianapolis, I'm not sure where it is. Just saying.
Yeah, well, whoever loses out on Watson here is going to need a quarterback as well, Carolina or New Orleans. One of those two, if they're the top two picks, one of those two is going to need a quarterback as well. There's places for guys to go. But I agree with it. I think there's a lot of questions marks around Jimmy Garoppolo. I find it. I had my initial thought yesterday when we heard of the Trevarius Ward signing was that meant there was something on the hook for Garoppolo. I just have a feeling that we're going to hear something before 1 o'clock tomorrow. It's either going to be him or it's going to be a number of re-signings all at once that we're going to hear about.
Will SF have a more balanced offense in 2022 with Trey Lance? You mean Deshaun Watson? Trey Lance. More balanced? They might run even more with Trey Lance, but I think they'll stretch the field. I think it'll be different. I don't know so maybe not. I don't know how you define balanced.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Niners have a balanced offense. They run the ball. They're one of the few teams in the league.
One of the few teams, right?
Say a balanced offense, right? Like, right. If you're saying by, like, are they going to throw more? No, like, because they have a balanced offense.
Yeah.
Zach Carter says Jimmy sure was hanging out with the Texan staff and players quite a lot. Week 17, just saying. Yeah, I took a video of that and posted it on my YouTube before the game. Just he was like, Brandon Cooks, what's up, man? Like, he knew every coach. He spent so much time with the Texans before that game. He's such a politician. He's like, I might have to play for you. Let me make sure this guy likes me. Make sure this guy likes me. Hey, what's up, man? So smart. I do the same thing.
I do think some teams are going to be interested. It's just like Jack said before, like they're going to be interested after the whole Deshaun Watson gets. Like, if I'm Carolina, I'm not going to trade for Jimmy until I know that I'm out of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, and then I'll be interested in Jimmy. But the other thing is, some of these teams might be interested in Jimmy, but not at $25 million. They'll be interested in Jimmy in free agency when they can just sign him at what they need, because
Right.
I know you can trade for him and then you can extend him, but why do you want to extend an oft injured guy?
You don't.
Well, that what you just said right there, Coach, is why we've heard a lot of folks saying, well, maybe did Garoppolo wait until this point to be able to control his own destiny and where he goes? And I think that right there is a reason why he shouldn't have if that's what his group tried to do. They're going to end up costing the money because he's not going to get $27 million on the open market.
No, Russ Button says they really overestimated themselves. They really believed all the hype, and now they're realizing that the rest of the league is like, well, I mean, we could have Marcus Mariota. It's like, oh man, that's a come down. Sorry, you're the Marcus Mariota level. It's like you have to sit with like the not cool kids at Ledge anymore. Sorry, Jimmy. You used to be able to sit over here, but now you got to sit with Marcus Mariota. Sorry, at lunch. I'm sorry. It's just what happened. Okay, Russ Button says Jimmy Garoppolo in a pick to Texas for D. Watson, then trade D. Watson to New Orleans for picks. Why? Texas desperate for a quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo can't stop. Post 316 trade to Texas to Houston. Yeah, I think it'd be great to send Jimmy Garoppolo to the Houston Texans. That would be the best. I think he deserves it. And I think it'd be cool if the Niners got Trey Lance and Deshaun Watson on the same team so they could have two quarterbacks on the field. Why not? Two balls.
I didn't realize you were a big fan of the Houston Texans. You want them to make the playoffs next year, Grant?
I do. I'm a big fan of everything that they got going. Lovie Smith.
Then they can use Trey Lance at running back, just like in the Cardinals.
There you go. Gary Dodson says Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield for Jimmy Garoppolo, straight swap. No. But I was thinking, what about Baker Mayfield to Seattle? Let's start there. Do you think that'd be something that the Seahawks would entertain?
I would love that. Maybe the Niners defense could actually get some picks if they got to play Baker.
Something they should do. Does it seem like something Pete Carroll would do? Go after someone like Baker. I think it is.
And pay him?
Yes, I think he would. I don't think he wants to rebuild, man. I don't see it. A rookie quarterback at his age, he's a defensive guy. What the hell is he going to do? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, but let me say, how did he win his last Super Bowl?
True. How he won it with that cover 3 when people were like, oh my God, cover 3? What's that? Now he's like, I can't run that anymore.
He built it with a young quarterback and an elite defense. So what do older people love to run it back to when the days were good and
he's not even close to an elite defense though.
But that's why you trade your franchise quarterback to try to,
All right. Why did the Niners get 5 compensatory picks for? Okay, let's talk about it. The Niners got 5 compensatory picks. They got 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th.
Yeah.
How you guys feel about it?
I think it's really good. Those two, the 2 in the 3rd are from the coaches, the minority coaches and GM hire that they had, and then they have the 2 6th and the 7th were from the player transitions. They were expecting them all to be in the 7th, so those 2 in the 6th were nice. It's good. The 49ers get 3 picks in the first 2 days of the draft, just like they would have if they had a first round pick, and they can move around on the board as much as they need to, because right now they have 3 picks in the 3rd round, but one of those is going to go to Miami as part of the trade last year for Trey Lance.
And they might need, like you kind of hinted at, they might need to use those picks to move up to get a player to fill a roster spot that needs to play. I know they don't want to play. I know they like to let rookies simmer for a little, for a couple of years and all that, but you might need a guy in the 2nd round or, move up in the late 1st or something like that to actually play safety or something this year.
What's the least you would take for Jimmy Garoppolo, guys?
Anything. I said 2 boxes of Samoas, and a 6th now.
Seriously, whatever. I don't know.
Just a pick. I mean, if you just get anything for him, I mean, really. I mean, if you're going to move off of him and you're for sure going to do it, and that's the direction you want to take, then just take whatever you want. It sounds to me like that's not the direction that they're leaning in. That's why they are where they are.
I mean, they're best in day 3 anyway, right? Just trade him for a round 5 pick. That's where you thrive. Round 5, round 6. I don't understand what the big deal is. I think to me, it's just about saving face, saying we said we were going to get this for Jimmy Garoppolo. We got it. Because as soon as they trade him for a sixth, I come in being like, "Ha! I told you so. What were you thinking? I told you, right?" And they don't want that. Although ultimately, who cares if I'm right for a day and they look like they were wrong? Who freaking cares? You got cap space. Move on. Sign a new player, and then everyone's happy about it, and I praise you. So I don't see what the big deal. But to me, it's like we can't let the media say that we were wrong. We can't let people second guess our plan. So we got to hold on to Jimmy. Got to hold on to Jimmy.
Well, they've got Lombardi, so he'll help with that.
Who? I don't know what you're talking about. If the Niners pull off a Deshaun Watson trade, will his contract have a? Oh wow!
Well, I heard Jerry Rice. Doesn't Jerry Rice know a couple of good places?
Don't you think that like just the whole public? I mean, the fact that it was so public, isn't he pretty much like unofficially blackballed? I mean, who would take that? Like, yeah, I'm good. Let's. Who? I mean, I don't think he. I just don't. I couldn't see it. Couldn't imagine. Shreddy, what do you think, Shreddy? Trade those third-round picks for fifth-round picks straight up. Trade Jimmy G for 5 fifth-round picks. Niner win 10 fifth-round picks. That's what I'm saying, man. Just consolidate all your stuff into round 5. It'll be great. Shreddy says if Brady don't go to the Niners, he needs to go to the Raiders and have his revenge when they meet in 2022, or else LV accepts last place in the AFC West. That would be cool. But it seems like Brady kind of was trying to get away from Tampa, and they were like, no, you thought we were going to do that out of the kindness of our hearts? No. So he was like, all right.
I don't think Brady's interested in the Raiders.
I don't either.
Yeah, he's not going there.
All right. The 49ers signed Trevarius Ward, one of the top free agent cornerbacks on the market, not the top one, but one of the top. The Niners gave him 3 years, $42 million. That's $14 million per year. Can't remember the last time they spent that much in a corner, and they gave him $26.7 million guaranteed. I can't remember they gave that much money to a DB. Buy or sell this signing? Was it good or not so good? Jack.
I'll start it off. Yeah, I think it's a good. I'm going to buy it. He's looks really good in man coverage, and for everything that I've seen of him, he looks like a guy that could step in and be better than what they have right now. And this might also indicate the direction that they're taking with their nickelback.
How so?
When you get into the your nickel and dime situations, you slide Emmanuel Mosley into the slot because he's played that position in the past.
Got it.
I think that's another topic though that we have.
All right. Yeah. Spoiler alert. What's up, Coach?
I'm gonna buy it, but with a caveat. Like, I need to see the contract, right? Like we're that contract. It's not. It says up to $42 million, and it sounds like it's very incentivized, so it might be a very team friendly deal.
I'm guessing it is Parag Marate. That's what he does.
Yeah, and so Grant, this is your fault again, right? You were the one clamoring for a corner, so like they're like, all right, we're not going to get Jason Jackson or Stephon Gilmore. We're going to get this guy.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think I'm going to go with I think Eric Crocker made some very good points. I think what they really have to do is it's going to be a good signing if they play to his strengths, which are he seems to be better in press man than other coverage. So if you're going to play him at off coverage and force him to play off coverage, it's probably not going to be a good look. But if you let him play where the strength, which is press man, then it'll probably end up being a good look for him. I mean, he's only 25 years old, which I do love that. Like I like if you're going to spend money, spending it on guys that are in their prime or about to be in their prime, because that means you're going to get a lot of return, or you should, and your asset shouldn't decline. It should at least stay at level, or it should go up. So I do like that he's young. Grant, that older corners typically don't do very well. So I think if the contract is team favorable, I like it a lot.
I'm selling this. I don't like it. I mean, it's not terrible, but I don't think it moves the needle enough. It's not the missing piece. It's not going to put them over the top and have them win a Super Bowl. Had they signed J.C. Jackson, I would say this is the best team in the league with Trey Lance. They have no weaknesses. They have impact players at every level of their team, offense and defense. I thought J.C. Jackson was that kind of impact player and worth the extra money. But they don't look at it that way. The way they look at it is like, I mean, I admire them for spending $14 million a year or whatever they spent on a cornerback, but it's pretty clear they were like, all right, this is what we're going to spend. we're not going to go over. And they were like interested in J.C. Jackson and Stephon Gilmore. Yeah, if they were willing to take $14 million a year with $26.7 million guarantee, like there was a point. Like this is what we're going to do, and we'll get the best cornerback in that price range, and that's what they got. But to me, like what's more important is not necessarily some arbitrary number. It's skill sets. And this particular secondary, this particular defense really could use one freaking dude who intercepts passes because they're fifth in sacks, 26th in interceptions. That should never happen. And it happens consistently with this team. Like if you look at them as lacking a DB, a number one cornerback with legit ball skills, then those 25 picks that J.C. Jackson brings to the table are valuable and they're worth the extra money, which ended up not being that much more. So to me, like, yeah, Trevarius Ward, yeah, he's good. But J.C. Jackson was the guy who they should have had. He wasn't necessarily out of their price range. He might have been. I mean, we don't know the structure, but if he was out of their price range, it's only because Jimmy Garoppolo is still on the team. So that's my rant. I'm sorry. I'm a downer. Sorry.
Yeah, and the other thing I think you had to look at, he's not signed yet, but what does Stephon Gilmore go for? If he ends up getting like a 1-year deal for like 10 mil, like, you know, I would have rather have that than
Yes. But you know, so that's how I feel. Was I too negative, Jack?
No, you're not too negative. I think when we're going to see these numbers come out eventually. Right now, the Jackson deal is $40 million guaranteed over the first 2 years, compared to what it looks like it's going to probably be 26.
Okay. Kind of similar with Armstead and Buckner, right? Like front loaded versus back loaded. Yeah,
that's what's happening, I think, here.
Yeah.
And I understand the people who point to the interceptions, also point to the people who say not to, because when you watch the J.C. Jackson highlights that I saw yesterday after the trade was over with, you're seeing a bunch of tip balls from other guys that are being caught for interceptions. So I don't know. It's an interesting.
You know what's interesting about both those guys, though? What's interesting about both those guys? They're both UDFAs. They both were undrafted free agents.
That's interesting. I mean, I'm just with J.C. Jackson, like he gave up a 49% completion percentage last season, which is sort of where Trevarius Ward was. I mean, below 50%. That's phenomenal. But, I mean, Jackson had 8 picks, and then he had 9 the year before that, and 5 the year before that, and 3 the year before that. So, I mean, yeah, there's a fair amount of tips, but, like, I don't think that's a fluke. Just like the fact that Trevarius Ward has only had 4 picks in 4 years is probably not a fluke. It's a skill set. I think Parag Marath wants you to believe it's like not projectable. It's volatile to a degree, but it's also a skill set. Like the 1 year, the 2 years this defense was not freaking bottom of the league in interceptions, coincidentally, was when they had Wash Richard Sherman on the team. Seriously. The same.
Yeah. Can't argue with it.
Hold on. Ben Poole says trade Lance and Kittle to Texans for DW. Lance and Kittle. That's what Jack said. Release Jimmy so he can drive them down there. I didn't read that part. It was funny. I like it. He might do it anyway. He's such a good guy, such a great teammate. That's what everyone says. I like your suggestion. Jack said it first. It could happen. Brady saw 37-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo score a hat trick and said, "I'll run it back." I still see a chance of Brady being the starter for the Niners week 1, so we'll see. What do you think?
I don't think this is going to happen, but it would be fantastic. I mean, then that Mike Fleury will get his wish, right?
Yeah, I think Brady was like at home, like messing around the house, getting into stuff, and his wife was like, "All right, fine, just go play." And then
she got tired of him.
Yeah. She asked him to go fix the toilet. He messed it all up, and she said, "Just get out of here."
Coach Johnston, why is it that these good cornerbacks are falling through the cracks on draft day? How should teams target good cornerbacks?
I don't know. Are you saying because they're both UDFAs? I mean, I think that's kind of abnormal that you'd have 2 corners of that caliber, especially J.C. Jackson. Just you don't see guys like that.
It happens at every position, though. I mean,
it does. But most of your really good corners are top picks. Like it's the J.C. Jackson is an abnormality, and so is Trevarius Ward.
Well, J.C. Jackson got kicked out of school. He was like he had a troubled past, and then Trevarius Ward. I mean, he probably went to a small school and probably was combine.
And then, I mean, you know, it's going to be interesting, right? Because if the 49ers' 2 starting corners are going to be UDFAs.
They have a lot in common, I think, Mosley and Ward, and I think they're both good. Right, a ton in common, those two.
I think I think scouting corner, it's the hardest position in football. It's the hardest position in football outside of quarterback. I think you have to have the physical traits, but then you also have to have them. You also have to have the mental side, and sometimes the mental side, it's not something that's going to show up on film. It's something that,
or it takes time. Look at Akella.
Yeah.
Akella did really well in Pittsburgh. If the Niners do hold on to Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it's because they don't view Jimmy Garoppolo as $27 million and Lance as $7 million. They must see it as two quarterbacks at $17 million each. Still crazy. Yeah, still crazy. Still crazy. But at least you try to make sense of craziness, which is always dangerous to do. All right, moving on. What do you guys think the plan? Hold on. No, here he goes. They better not get Tom Brady or Deshaun Watson. We don't need them. All we need is Trey. Also, we really need corners, and I don't know if they're going to do the job. Well, look, Trevarius Ward misses games. Emmanuel Mosley misses games.
Yeah.
Between those two and Ambry Thomas, the Niners they should never be in the Josh Norman situation again. How about that? 3 outside corners who are starting caliber. How about that's good? How about that? All right.
Until we find out Trevarius Ward has an ailing knee that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kansas City.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the 49ers plan at nickel? Because it seems like, they could re-sign K1 again. Maybe they should. Do they have a better option right now than re-signing K1 Williams?
Jack, go ahead. You kind of were touching on it before.
I just think the first option, if they don't make a move, I really wanted to see him go after Desmond King, so I was a little bummed to see that him stay with Houston today. But other than that, possibly doing what they did in 2011, 2012 with, having Mosley and Ward start on the outside, and then when they go into their nickel, they slide Mosley down inside, and they bring in Ambry Thomas to play on the edge. That's if they don't bring anybody in. I think that might be the plan there.
Yeah, I think that seems logical. I have some questions whether Mosley can run fit in the bubble. Just because they asked their nickel to do that, they asked their safeties to do that. I think he's willing. I just don't know that he has the body type.
And he misses lots. Durability is an issue for him.
Yeah, and if you look at a guy like K1 is like he's small, but he's sturdy. He's built.
He is.
He is. And so I think they need a guy that's capable of doing that. I still think I know it's out there that they're not going to bring Quan back, but I think it's still a possibility. He wasn't that expensive last year. I don't know that there's going to be a huge market for him. In fact, there's not necessarily a huge, massive market for nickels. I think it's affordable. It's a mostly affordable position. I think they can find somebody that can do it. And like you said, Mosley's hasn't proven to be durable. So, I don't know that you want to put him in that position.
They could move in Mosley sometimes. They could move Ward down there sometimes, but then they have to have 2 different safeties. I think they're going to bring back K1. Desmond King went today at a very reasonable price. They could have brought him in. That would have been an upgrade, but they didn't. And now I think they're probably going to say, well, we know K1. We'll give K1 an opportunity to get more money elsewhere. But unless Miami wants to bring him in because of the Mike McDaniel connection, they might. Look, it's not like Diamador Lenore is an upgrade over K1. What do we really do? Why are you just getting worse at positions? Why, don't you want to run it back? You loved running it back in the past. Now you don't want to run it back anymore because Trey Lance is quarterback? What's the deal? Are you just going to get worse at nickelback? I hope they don't just hand the job. At left guard, they just got rid of Lake and Tomlinson. They're like, all right, Aaron Banks' turn to step up. What? That's a downgrade. What are you talking about here? And then DJ Jones leaves, and you're like, okay, well, Javon Kinlaw has to. You don't even know that Javon Kinlaw has 2 knees. I don't know, man. I'm that the Niners have like a non-plan here at nickel. Diamador's got it. Word.
It might be. The fun part about these Nickelback conversations with you, Grant, is they always remind me of that time when we were at training camp and you're like, hey, Jack, come over here. I want to show you this photograph. And I went over there and you were showing it to me. And I was like, dude, all you can do is make me laugh because now all you're doing is show me that you're a rock star.
What are you talking about? What picture?
Nickelback.
No. I didn't get it.
I know.
Sorry.
That's okay. You see, you have to like Nickelback to understand the.
I don't
kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't like Nickelback, but I do know what.
Smash Mouth's good though too. Those
man,
guys
time of classics. Shout out Smash Mouth. Trey Niner says Ward seems to play like a nickel corner with his physical play. We can use him in nickel and sign Verrett back. Mosley and Verrett with Ward at nickel. I think Jimmy's better at covering tight ends than wide receivers.
Yeah, but it's not. Remember, playing in the nickel, it's not just pass coverage and playing physical up front. It's you got to be able to fill in the run game, and it's not an outside fill. They're asking to fill in what I call the bubble, or what's called the bubble, which is essentially it's the B gap. It's that open B gap. And they ask their nickel to do that. So they have to have a guy that's willing and physically able to do that.
Do they? How much do they believe in the guy? Talanoa Hufanga. That might be the question here, because if they can bring back Jaquiski Tartt, which probably isn't going to happen, but that allows you to maybe use Ward in that role because you can mix and match them. But yeah, that's a tough sell.
I'd like the Niners to replace Jaquiski Tartt with someone who intercepts passes. I'm sorry. I know I'm asking for a lot. Those guys are expensive and good. How about one? Draft them.
It's going to be a draft pick.
That's fine. Draft them. I love drafting DBs. Murphy says if Jimmy's agent is vetoing all trades until 1 p.m. tomorrow, can they simultaneously trade him at 1 p.m. and be under the cap by 1 p.m.? That's a lot that would happen like right at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah, this is one of those things that keeps coming up. It doesn't matter what the deal with Garoppolo. His no trade clause expires at 1 o'clock tomorrow, so they can get a deal in place right now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They can get a deal in place. They can announce it if they want. It doesn't matter. He can. But they're not trying to move him today. They're trying to get him off the books at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, he can just say, "Well, I veto it until 1 o'clock tomorrow," and they're like, "Great. Well, it's going to happen at 1 o'clock tomorrow. So see you then. Goodbye." Yeah. We'll just you can wait for the inevitable. I like that. That's a good point. You think they've done that already? It'd be reported, wouldn't it? It would be. I don't know.
You would think so.
All right. I'm just throwing this out there. Are there any available free agents on the 49ers radar, or that should be on their radar? What do you guys?
Yeah. My number 2 safety, which is Terrell Edmonds. I think he can come in. He's not as good as he's not as good in the box as Reed, or even I have some questions even if he's as good as Tartt, but he's very good in coverage. He can do all things Tartt can do in coverage, and he'll go get the football. So could you maybe teach the run support? No, you probably could. You might be able to coach that up out of him. But if you couldn't, you could let Ward do it, and not safety rotate, and just let Ward handle those responsibilities, and keep Edmonds up high, and then maybe and I think they might need to look at. It seems like their plan is they might need to look at another guard, just in case the left guard or the right guard doesn't work out. Maybe like a Will Hernandez or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you took my Terrell Edmonds. That's the one somebody asked me yesterday about because Reed got taken off the board, and that was the name I threw out was Terrell Edmonds. So I like him a lot. I think we're going to see the 49ers also bring in a wide receiver that can play special teams, similar to what they did at linebacker. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. But Mac Hollins from Miami is the name that I keep coming back to, because he gives them the speed side as well as the ability to play on special teams that they're looking for. He's kind of he's a better version of what they got last year from the Cardinals in Trent Sherfield.
Terrell Edmonds is cool. He had 4 picks the last 2 seasons. That's good. Also pretty young. He's probably going to be pretty expensive, though. I mean, not as expensive as Trevarius Ward, but probably $7-8 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's okay. I mean, that'd be cool. What about Tyrann Mathieu though? Like Tyrann Mathieu's older. Edmonds is 25. He might get a 5-year deal. Tyrann Mathieu is 29, almost 30. He had 3 picks last year, 6 picks the year before that, 4 before that, 2, 1, 5. I mean, he has a very specific skill set. It seems to be complementary to what the Niners already have. It seems like Terrell Edmonds is just more what the Niners already have. Good player though, but a lot like a young Tartt. No, not a bad thing. But what they already have. No.
I think he's got better ball skills than Tartt. If you watch I know he only has that many picks, but if you watch his film, I think his ball skills are better. The thing that kind of puts me off about Mathieu is I think you've got some of the picks there, but it seems like his movement skills are failing. So like maybe you'll get 3 or 4 picks but at the cost of what explosive plays or what touchdowns that he gives up. I think he puts you in a little bit of a bind as the main reason why I'm not really fond of Hufanga. Like I don't want to have to protect my safety as much like that. Now Matthew's better than Hufanga. I don't want to go there, but I don't want to not be able to use him in man coverage and things like that.
Real quick, I just feel like you use Jimmy in man coverage. So what you need opposite Jimmy is someone who's more ball hawkish, to use a word that doesn't exist. And that's why Tyrann Mathieu is interesting to me. Also, you can get him a 2-year deal. No? I don't know.
I think he's going to be out of the 49ers price range.
Oh, Matthew. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that. I mean, he's a fine player. I agree with Coach that he's probably on the backside of his career.
He is.
And I think he's going to be most likely he's going to be a little above what the 49ers would want to pay for him.
And if you also look at Grant, is that the Niners seem to have a type of safety that they look at, and they're usually bigger safeties. They don't look at the smaller. I mean, Jimmy Ward is their shortest safety at 5'11". He's 5'11". Then after that, it's like 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". They're all like 205. So I don't know that Matthew fits in there. Seem to be their prototype. And if you look at what they do in free agency and all the things, they don't go too far away from their type, right? Like look at Ward, the corner that they signed. That's their type, right? Like look at the edge guys that they signed. Like
they need to go against type. They need to go against type. They have an entire secondary filled with the same kind of freaking players. Guys who are good tacklers, good man-to-man coverage, good length, good size, no freaking ball skills. There's no way that a team with that front seven and that pass rush should be that inept at catching interceptions. I mean, they should be on a silver platter for him. But no, Jaquiski Tartt had 2 arms and a chest, and he made one-handed catch. But still, it's a lack of a skill. They need to look. Terrell Edmonds might be the dude, or just draft a dude, or Tyrann Mathieu. But I think any of them work. Anyone on offense? Valdez Scantling. He was linked.
Yeah, he was linked there. That's a name that would be a big upgrade for the 49ers. The only thing, if you're going after Marquez Valdez Scantling, that tells me you're either not going to be bringing back the Juwan Jennings, or you're moving a receiver. Because why would you be spending? Why would the 49ers?
They're moving Debo to running back. It already happened. I don't know if you noticed.
Or maybe they're trading Debo to Houston to bring in Deshaun Watson.
Oh wow!
Oh.
Dang, Jack went there. Snap!
I just got blocked.
Not Tyrod Taylor. He's going to the Giants. The Niners probably are going with Nate Sudfeld as their backup this year, or could be Trey Lance again.
I think if they're not going to sign a safety, I think they need to sign a guard. They need to sign a guard because you need to have a plan. If Aaron Banks is not that dude, you need to have a plan. Like, what's your plan for that?
No. Aaron Banks is ready. Trey Lance probably not. Aaron Banks is ready. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, sign a guard. Any vet. Tom Compton might be able to do it. Maybe he's even better at left guard than he was at right tackle.
Maybe.
Okay, I got no more names.
Run it back with Tom Compton.
Off topic, did y'all see Trent on the I Am Athlete? No, I haven't seen it yet. Have you guys?
I saw bits and pieces of it. I always like listen to Trent. I think he's a good listen.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him. Murphy says all year they could have played Trey, but went with injured Jimmy. Tried getting A-Rod Watson last year. Now Watson again. Locker room wanted Jimmy. Who needs more proof the Niners don't believe in Trey? I mean, I think with Trey, look, I'm very gung-ho. It's not my quarterback. It's not my job. There is a big air of mystery with Trey Lance. 3.5 starts in the last 2 years. I could see someone who feels like they're Teflon in the NFL not wanting to put themselves out there with an unknown like that. I mean, that's possible. Because if Trey Lance just happens to not be good, really doesn't help Kyle Shanahan. I could see – I mean, we saw him be hesitant last year. He was real hesitant. Okay, I'm done talking.
That's the biggest piece around this. All of a sudden, if this does not work, it blows up in Shanahan's face. That's why I talk. I think the last time we spoke, Grant, I mentioned how I think the seat's a little warm under him with this whole Trey Lance thing, because if it doesn't work out, I don't think he has a long period of time in San Francisco if he does stick with Trey Lance and things go south with this team. I think he's maybe got 2 years left.
Your legacy in the NFL is often tied, or pretty much all the time tied to a quarterback. So and especially as an offensive guy, it's, can you develop a quarterback or can you not? He's got his guy. And
also, I think it's important to remember that I don't think Lance was was plan A. I don't think Trey was ever plan A for the 49ers last year. I think their plan A was Watson. I think plan B was Rodgers, and plan C was Lance. That's what I'm thinking. So I don't know. We have no idea what their plan is this offseason. But that's what I think it was.
I don't totally disagree with you on that. I think I don't know if I would say that Rodgers was their plan B, just because I don't think they expected that to happen, where he was going to become available. But I can see where maybe it wasn't really Trey Lance at number one when it comes to who they were going to draft.
Right.
Just when there's that much smoke, usually there's some fire behind it.
I have a gut feeling the Niners can't get a 1 or 2 pick for Jimmy, and they end up keeping him on his last year by restructuring his deal to save money. How are they going to restructure the deal? How?
Like what they did with D Ford. You
give him a little year.
Yeah. You'd have to give him a signing bonus add-on to bring down. You'd have to convert his base salary to some signing bonus. You've got to give him, a $25 million or whatever to make it work. So, and then you add voidable years after that. It's something that I've thought about for a while. I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I really hope it does. Ali May,
I do too.
Yeah, I really hope it does. Ali says, "Do you think our special teams is going to be good?" Well, they have a new special teams coordinator, and they just brought in Oren Burks, who's a special teams specialist, and they're trying to get a kick returner. They're interested in Jakeem Grant. They could just let Debo return the kicks, and he's probably the best kick returner in the league, if not, in the league. But so it could be. It could be. That's my answer.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's what the signing. That signing reminds me of Mark Mazzaccia.
Yes, John Due Diligence Lynch says I don't know, Tony. I like that. John Due Diligence Lynch. That's you.
So do you think Jimmy's going to be on the roster tomorrow at 1 p.m.?
Yeah,
you do.
I do. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna say no. Great, Jack.
That Garoppolo's on the team tomorrow at 1 p.m. Since you guys both said, one said yes, the other one said no, I'll say we'll see. No, I think he's going to be gone. I think they're going to move him tomorrow. I don't know.
Darn.
It's my gut feeling, but my gut's been wrong so much over the last couple
I guess. I get Laramie Tunsil, I guess, just restructured, and he posted on the video of the clip from Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not effing leaving. I'm not effing leaving. That's going to be the Jimmy Garoppolo clip.
You want to effing leave.
I'm not leaving. I'm not effing leaving.
Sunshine Good says, "Are we sure this late surgery wasn't a plan with Kyle Lynch and Jimmy's team? Looks like they are using surgery as excuse to keep him." You think Jimmy? I don't know.
That would be. I mean, if the 49ers keep Jimmy Garoppolo, that would be the story of the year, and that would just be unbelievable to watch Twitter meltdown.
Did John Lynch not say 2 weeks ago at the combine, when you make this type of investment you make in a quarterback like Trey Lance, you tend to want to use him? Did he not say that? He said that, right?
I think he was pretty.
I thought he said that. So
it's if you listen to what these guys are saying, John Lynch has always been pro Trey Lance. He's the one that's always been the pump up guy, and the head coach is Kyle Shanahan's always been the one who's kind of been pump the brake guy, and we're seeing that play. Might be seeing that play out behind the scenes with what's happening here.
Well, Smash Mouth thinks that Jimmy Garoppolo is coming back and will start next year, and it's Smash Mouth,
Smash Mouth's never wrong. They were right when going back to Trent Baalke too.
True. If we hold Jimmy Garoppolo till next year, do we get a third comp third? Yes, like a late, like a 1-0, not a top 100 pick, but yeah. What the things you can do with a top. It's great. Funny how everything we don't seem to think is going to happen ends up happening. No, I anticipate all of it. I can actually see it all coming, which is even funnier. Chris says the whole argument is he only played 3 games in the last 2 years, yet thinking sitting him another year is going to make him better 3 games in 3 years. Thank you, Chris. Like, I feel like dude is Trey Lance is stuck in a Kafka novel. Like, he's like on trial, but they won't tell him what he's on trial for. Stuff like that. It's like, what is good? So I can't play because I don't have experience, but the plan is to give me no experience to prepare me for this role. It's like, what? That doesn't make sense. Agree, Chris. Jerome says Jimmy will still be on the roster at 1 p.m. and off the roster by 3 p.m. Jerome calling a shot. He went with a ... for full effect. I like it, Jerome. I hope you're right. Okay. D Ford, restructured but not released. The story every year. I love it. He's the Bobby Bonilla of the 49ers. He's going to be on the team 10 years now. The Niners somehow have built in very team-friendly deals except for this one. D Ford has found a way to just get a $10 million payday every year. How do you feel about the Niners' latest handling of the D Ford debacle?
I mean, what else are they gonna do? Like, I mean, they need they need cash now. So like, they had 2 options. They could have waited to June 1 and cut them and save 2.5, or they could have cut them now and save 5 and kick it down the road later. Which, when right now they need that space badly. So it seemed like it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, like Coach said, I see it over in the comment section. They caught on to that. They called up J.G. Wentworth and said they need their cash now.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. I mean, I saw some folks question it. It makes sense what they're doing here. They've only added about, I believe, $2.5-3 million in dead cap to what they did. So it's not a big deal. The cap is going to be going up starting next year. So the percentage of the cap that dead cap is going to be hitting on is going to be smaller. And based on the way that it looks on over the cap, it looks like D Ford will be off the roster next year because it looks like all 3 of the remaining years are voidable years after this.
I was just gonna say who do you think is more likely to be in the roster in 2042, D Ford or Trey Lance?
The D Ford era is going to come to an end. This is the end of the D Ford era. Oh man. Well, we got to send him out in style, guys. One of the greatest 49ers ever. Does he go in the pantheon of greatest? He would have to, right? Him, Bryant Young, Steve Young, D Ford. Absolutely. One of the best moves ever. Love it. Absolutely. One of the highest paid 49ers, though, legitimately. He got more money out of this franchise than probably Joe Montana ever did.
He can use the gift too. I'm not effing leaving.
Oh no, I'm not effing playing either. Do you guys think he plays a single? How many games does D Ford play next year?
He's good. He'll attempt. He'll play some snaps, and then he'll be hurt again, and then that'll be it. Like he'll attempt.
We'll give it the good college try.
Yeah.
We'll give it the college try, and he played 6 games last year, 1 the year before.
Hey Grant, in camp he's gonna look really good, right? He's gonna look
phenomenal.
Really You're gonna hear all the reports. Like Peter King
actually never looked better.
Yeah, Peter King reports that D Ford looks like the best pass rusher in the last 30 years in the NFL.
Man, oh well. Well,
yeah. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun watching Grant write that article.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll shamelessly do it. Just be like the next day, like psych. Ah! That Niner guy says when Smash Mouth wrote All Star, it was about Jimmy, porn star Jimmy. It's true. It's true. Actually, if you go through the lyrics and think about it, there is some. It works. It does. I like that. Jater Whedon says Trey as trade bait. He'd be the number 1 pick in this draft.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Trade bait? I know. See, the thing is, these discussions can't be public. The Niners have to deny this. This is essentially like cheating on your wife. This ruins there's no coming back from this. So you get caught. I did not do it, honey. What I do? Look me in the eye, okay? On everything. I did not meet with Deshaun Watson today. It didn't happen. You think I would meet with a guy like that? No, absolutely not. But it's like, stop texting me. I'll get back to you. I'm with my wife, all right? I'm going to get back to you. I'm just saying, I feel like that's how you have to handle this. You can't let people know that it's terrible. It's terrible. You should collab with Tom. I don't even know who that is, but let's do it. I always say yes to collabos. Trade Jimmy Ward. I like him, but he's overrated. Oh, he likes him, but he's Loki smoke.
Loki smoke.
I'm gonna tell him you said that, Loki. He's probably watching right now. I like him, but he's overrated. Hey, cold world. Loki, man. It's true. Pour out a little for Jimmy Ward. Sorry. Michael Hamilton says Ward is a great signing. Man-to-man corners get fewer picks than zone cornerbacks. Look at his stats. If offense scored 28 points a game, our D is top 3. Okay. See. Deion Sanders played man-to-man. Revis played man-to-man. They intercepted passes time to time. Time to time. Sorry. I'm tripping. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Have the Niners traded Jimmy in the last – been on for an hour? Have they done anything?
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
Have they signed anybody? Another Oren?
They trade for Deshaun Watson yet? How would you rank the Niners front office versus the league? I
would say upper. They're in the top third, I think. I mean, like they do fine play. They do. If you look on their roster is filled with players that they drafted. Like they have all pro players. They were just in the NFC Championship game, so top third for sure.
What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I think they're in the top third. They've put together a pretty good roster here. The last NFC Championship game or Super Bowl, the last two of the last 3 years. I think they were a playoff team in 2020 if the quarterback was healthy. It's all about the quarterback in the NFL, more so than ever, and I think the last 3 years in San Francisco proves it. And I think you look at all these, look at the teams that need a quarterback right now, and they need. I know we whatever you want to say about Garoppolo or whatever, but he has been successful when he's played, and I think Houston could benefit from it. I think Indy could benefit from it. Carolina has a pretty good defense too, and just needs a quarterback to move the offense.
Yeah, the thing that frustrates me with the Niners front office is that, like, the last 10 years, they've been in a position where they've had a team on the cusp, right on the cusp of being Super Bowl champion. I've never felt like they made the all-in, over-the-top, let's win the freaking Super Bowl move the way the Rams have or the Bucs have. And they've been like, we're right there, but at the same time, let's not compromise our salary structure. Let's still, plan for the future and plan for it's like, I don't know, man. I would like to see the Niners do a little bit more than what they've done, although maybe Trevarius Ward. I keep calling him Trevarius because there's a Trevarius Moore on the team. It's tough. Trevarius Ward. Maybe he'll be he does have a ring. Beat the Niners. He did.
There's another name for you for this whole slot cornerback thing that we were talking about. Trevarius Moore. You got me all confused now too, Grant. Trevarius Moore. That's going to be a tough
hard
one. But Trevarius Moore.
Exactly. See, I'm telling you.
You remember that's what they did in 2019 with
yes.
where they slid him into the single high safety and they used the other two guys in the box.
Also, if I remember correctly, in training camp, K'Wan Williams a couple of years ago missed most or all of it. And the Niners just used training camp to just give a bunch of players looks at that spot. Mosley was one. Trevarius Moore was another. I don't know how good he was at it, but they gave him a shot.
Look.
Yeah, they gave him a look.
All
right, guys. That's our show. I'm going to go back to Jimmy Watts, which sounds weird. My phrasing's been off recently, but it is what it is. It is Jimmy Watts till he's off the team. Jimmy. Where do you think Jimmy is right now? Chilling in Chicago in the Chi?
Well, someone tweeted me a picture of his profile, like I think yesterday, and he was in Charleston.
He spends a lot of time right in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. What is that? You notice that? He doesn't live anywhere near there, but he's like, oh, check out these jeans. That was definitely a shot at Levi's and the 49ers. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, don't wear Levi's.
He's taking on Michael Mina's next.
I like Michael Mina's. They have good stuff. You can trust the Michael Mina restaurant. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow with Larry Krueger, Jesse Naylor. See you guys in. Bye.
Later.